The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good morning, everybody, and happy Thursday. We kick things off, and boy, we got some NVIDIA earnings last night. You almost can't overstate the type of numbers that they were putting up, man, and the market picking up in a big way. We're up by 1% right now, and the S&P is trading up 38 points at 4164. How about the NASDAQ 100, man? AI. Can't wait to talk to our man Kevin Hincks after the first break. I asked him yesterday about AI. Seems like AI is going to change the world forever, man. And it seems like the numbers are astronomical in terms of how NVIDIA beat. We're seeing AI accelerating everywhere. And how about the NASDAQ 100 up more than 400 points off the lows of yesterday? We got the Fed minutes at 2 p.m. Eastern time yesterday, but boy, it all started on those NVIDIA earnings. We'll jump over to them in a moment. You get the Dow flat, okay? You have the Dow flat, the Russell's flat. The NASDAQ 100's up 2.4%, folks. The S&Ps are up 38%. We're about to get a new entry into the $1 trillion club because you got NVIDIA trading up $90. Now, we just missed $400. For some context here, okay, you jump over to the Analyze tab. If you're buying at the money, it's so funny here. We got to go. You got to expand these strikes. So many to get back to where we were last night to find. Now, options prices, folks, do not trade when the market is closed. So you can go into the option chain and you can see where these prices were trading at last night coming into those NVIDIA earnings. We closed at 305. And you can see that if you bought a 305 call, it was costing you about $10 or $11. And this morning, it's going to be worth about $90, right? Sorry, that's a put. Same deal, though. $10, $11, it's going to cost you about $90. And boy, this is why people love gambling on options, man, because you can see if you went out of the money, the expected move was about $20 in either direction because we had a $10 call, a $10 put if you wanted volatility exposure in either direction. Okay, the implied move in either direction was about $20. So if you just go about $20 out, you're talking about $4 for a 325. That's going to be worth, what, $70 of intrinsic value today? Just remarkable, man, the move. You can't overstate it. You got a company like NVIDIA, okay, that's going to pop 30% at the open. And, folks, this is a company that's now going to be valued at about $1 trillion. And there's only a few other companies that are valued at $1 trillion. I pulled it up here. You're talking about, what are the companies? You know them: Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, and Amazon. Well, guess what? NVIDIA is in there now. 980. It was at $755 billion as of Wednesday's close. Just remarkable. You can't overstate it, man. You got Apple, the big dog, 2.7. Microsoft on its heels at 2.3. Google at 1.5. Amazon at 1.2. And NVIDIA is going to open the day at about $1 trillion of revenue. We're going to get into their numbers later in the program, man. But as I said, you almost can't overstate what is going on with that stock, man. AI is going to change the world, folks. And there's many things that change the world, okay? Electricity changes the world. Air conditioning off the heels of electricity, right? I live in Florida. Florida's only able to succeed because we got air conditioning, folks. It would be a different state if we didn't have AC, right? Changes the world. Light changes the world. Fire changes the world. The internet changes the world. AI is changing the world, and we're seeing that acceleration happening right in front of our eyes, man. Yeah, and I was looking for the article. I had a bunch of articles about NVIDIA, and that's the headline right there. Everything's ratcheting up higher, man, and we're going to jump to Microsoft in a moment. But, yeah, it is bananas in terms of what's going on. Yeah. Let's see if that was the one I was reading about. There's almost so many articles, and that's talking about the $1 trillion, man. Look at them. Berkshire Hathaway, just under NVIDIA, is there now. That's where they came into the number, okay? $750 billion. They're going to be at $1 trillion, just like that. It's not often you see a company go from $750 billion, folks, to $1 trillion overnight. You don't get those types of accelerations. Absolutely astounding. Let's jump around to some of the other equities that are accelerating on the heels of NVIDIA. There's one of them, man. Microsoft. They're going to catch a $10 lift. I mean, staggering, right? You jump over to AMD. There's a pop for you. AMD going to be up, 9% on the open? You can just go on and on, folks. Google shares catch a bid from 121 to 125. Apple, the most muted of them all, barely positive by about 40 cents, as Apple, kind of the go-to dividend stock, right? Not exactly a growth stock, not exactly embedded within AI like everything else. You jump over to Meta shares up from 250 to 252. Again, slightly muted compared to some of the other equities and how they're moving this morning. But boy, it is going to be an interesting morning, folks, to see where NVIDIA goes. Now, you put NVIDIA on a daily, that's not going to have the pop that we have. No, excuse me, I got to back it up to find the high. You talk about blowing out the high, man. Imagine what this bar is going to look like on a daily basis, folks, when we open at $400 from 305. Right? Now, in one aspect, that's going to be quite a gap. Okay, that is going to be quite a gap, and maybe that gap needs to get filled. But boy, I imagine we are going to see volume, the likes that NVIDIA has potentially never seen before. As we get a gap from 300 to 400, you blow apart the 346 high from November of 2021. And how about this year alone? From 143 to pushing $400 for NVIDIA shares. Like I said, you can't overstate. As we got the Dow negative, the Russell negative, this is all about AI. It's all about NVIDIA. It's all about Microsoft, AMD, Google, the tech stocks, as you get the NASDAQ 100 up 2.4%. And anytime you got NVIDIA, okay, up 30%, folks. You don't often have trillion-dollar companies up 30%. That is going to have an impact like we're seeing on the S&P, on the NASDAQ 100, not on the Dow because they're not in the Dow. Okay, there's only 30 stocks in the Dow. It doesn't matter in terms of the Dow. And the Russell, same deal as well. All right, we jump over to some commodities. We get away from NVIDIA. We're not going to get too far away from NVIDIA today because that is going to be the story. We got debt crisis looming as well. Tomorrow's the beginning of a long weekend, Memorial Day weekend. So yeah, there's a potential for anything to pop up. But nonetheless, man, NVIDIA is going to be the story. Those growth stocks are going to be the story. And boy, AI is changing the world forever, and we're seeing it in those numbers. And like I said, I'm going to spend some time later in the program actually getting into the numbers because we talked about the PE on a company like NVIDIA yesterday. Well, you know how you rationalize a PE at 180, 120, 200? You know how you rationalize it? You grow at exponential rates. And boy, they just blew it apart in terms of their revenue, data centers, chips, etc. Crude off $1.45 at about 72.89 this morning. Gold contract with some volatility. There you go, man. How about it? Gold drops from 1960 down to 1939. We're trading at 1949 right now. Yeah, we saw those jobs numbers. Thought I had them up here, and I will find them. Because we do have the weekly jobless claims number. Let me see if I got it up here. I think I do, right? There we go. Yeah, jobless claims. Tick up, well, prior week revised lower. Initial claims, 229,000. All things considered, I mean, not that bad, folks. 229,000. That's basically a functioning, reasonable economy. That's the type of churn that you usually get, okay? Yeah, it's going to be a wild one, folks. We're going to come back when I talk to our man, Kevin Hincks. We got gold down $15 right now. There's your chart of the 10-year action. We got yields moving. We got dollar moving. We got markets moving. Stay tuned, folks. We'll come back with our man, Kevin Hincks. We'll be right back. If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years years' experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We got the S&P's up 35 points, NASDAQ 100 up 316. We jump over to the VIX this morning. Now, the VIX, remember, folks, is predicated on the S&P, okay? The VIX is predicated on the S&P. We have the S&P right now up almost a full percent. We got the VIX backing off to 1884. But I'd be a little bit careful here, folks, okay? Because we have quite a spike, man. These things are going to take off no matter what. They already took off, right? You're up 30% on a company that was valued at $750 billion. Absolutely bananas, the technical term, bananas. Now, let's talk about some of the numbers. The biggest number out there, okay, is that NVIDIA, for their outlook, you can't overstate this. It's amazing. They expect about $11 billion in sales. $11 billion in sales this quarter. You know what the market was looking for, folks? The market was looking for just about $7 billion. Yeah, they beat their revenue for this coming quarter. The market likes future numbers. This is the quarter we're in going forward, okay? They beat everything in the quarter that they reported for the past quarter. But when we're talking about how they said they're doing in the quarter we're in right now, they are going to do $11 billion in sales, plus or minus 2% is exactly what they said. And that's 50% higher than what Wall Street was looking for, $7.15 billion. Absolutely amazing. Their data center group reported $4.28 billion in sales. The market was looking for $3.9. Now, if you're asking yourself how they do this, and boy, if you're an analyst, right, and this is your job and this is how you make 6 figures on Wall Street, how do you miss that they're going to do $11 billion versus 7? Aren't there some type of indicators of sales? Maybe there's not. But that's a lot of $1 billion that they just missed from 7 to 11. And it's being represented in this chart. So don't think this is irrational, folks. I've never seen something like that where a market is looking for sales of 7 and they say they're going to come in at $11 billion. I mean, imagine if you run a business that's just doing 700,000. Excuse me. Yeah, that's doing 700,000 and you say we're going to do what? 1.1 million would be akin, okay? It's thousands of times more than that, which is staggering. Now, how do they get that money, okay? As in, how do they hit that type of price tag? Well, I'm going to pull some prices up here for you real quickly to illustrate the type of dollars that they're dealing with, okay? So this article is from CNBC out here. Now you can just find it. You're going to find so many articles on everything to do with NVIDIA. But this morning it's talking about the AI chip boom is pushing NVIDIA towards $1 trillion. We already talked about that. This one is talking about maybe it won't be the same for Intel and AMD. Now we saw that AMD is up dramatically this morning. And everything's going to be up, folks, okay? But Intel's not, right? So don't think it's the same story, okay? AMD up by $10. Intel is lower. And NVIDIA is up 30%. Okay, I wonder what it was like to sit in the C-suite of NVIDIA and push the button when those numbers are going to get pushed out and sit back and sip a coffee and go, I can't wait to see what the market's going to do on this one when they find out we're going to take in $11 billion this quarter instead of $7 billion, right? Now, how do they get that money? You want to hear how much these things cost? Okay. And folks, these are not a lot of costs when you think about the potential for what AI can do in terms of replacing employees across the board, okay? Productivity, etc. Now, you used to computers costing thousands. Well, how about tens of thousands? To the point where, and this talks about a bunch of things, okay? But NVIDIA has AI computers for training in a box, basically. They use their high-end H100 GPUs. This is where, man, it's too bad we don't got our man Dave White. Mr. Man Dave White, I'm sure he'd have an outstanding program talking about all these high-end chips and so forth today. But so Google's supercomputer pairs 8 of those along with a single high-end Xeon processor made by Intel, okay? That's one reason why NVIDIA's data center business grew 14% during the first calendar quarter versus flat for AMD. And a decline of 39% for Intel. Now, here are the price tags. NVIDIA's GPUs tend to be more expensive than many central processors. Intel's most recent generation of CPUs can cost $17,000 at list. A single H100 from NVIDIA can sell for $40,000 on the secondary market, man. $40,000. Yeah, and NVIDIA's high-end GPUs remain the chip of choice for current companies building applications like ChatGPT, which are expensive to train by processing terabytes of data and are expensive to run later in a process called inference, which uses the model to generate text, images, and make predictions. $40,000 you're talking about there, man. Can't overstate it, okay? Things are changing, folks, and companies are willing to spend, and they should be, because it's going to change the world. When you think about, right, we're launching products on TFNN. There's going to be a time, folks, where companies like Shopify are integrating things, and you're going to be able to say to a computer, build me a web page, list this product. We have a new webinar coming up. It'll be coming up on June 8th. List it for X price. Build me a web page for it. Include this text on the web page. Tie it to our merchant account, and you just say it, and it's done, right? So the productivity aspect of things is going to be astounding. And yeah, we're seeing it play out, man, and it's going to be an interesting open, to say the least, with NVIDIA spiking up 30%. I can't believe it. You say it over and over. We got Microsoft shares up $10, holding on to those gains. AMD up about $10, as I mentioned, and Meta shares going to catch a little bit of a lift, up about $4 as well. NASDAQ 100, man. Check this out. Let's back it up a little bit. We're going to open at about 14,000. Still 2,700 points off the high, okay? And you got that first high hanging out there at about 15,200 is the next high on the NASDAQ 100 we're sitting out. Let's jump over to Amazon shares, see how they're trading this morning. Amazon going to get a marginal lift. Nothing too crazy. All right, it's a wild one, man. We're going to circle back to that one many times over, I imagine, today as we check in on NVIDIA and see how they are navigating quite the earnings day, to put it lightly. Almost had a loss of words. I mean, can't overstate it. Absolutely bananas that they come in with $11 billion versus $7 billion. And it speaks to how this is not going to go away anytime soon, man. The race is on. Because imagine if you become the first company, that's it. I mean, Google knows that. Right? They became the first company in search. That was it. Now, let's go back to the debt ceiling. The one thing that I keep hearing, right, is you have McCarthy and Biden, and this is a little fundamental shift of my take from big picture take of the rhetoric they're getting. Has nothing to do with technical analysis or earnings, this part of it, okay? And this article talking about, it was out from last night, credit rating at risk of Fitch cut on debt limit impasse, and they should cut, man. They should. I would almost be more confident in Apple. Now, here's where it gets a little bit weird, is that I'd almost be more confident in Apple to pay their bills than I am the U.S. government. The only kicker, of course, is that if Apple has a bunch of their cash in U.S. treasuries, then how are they going to be paying out their dividends or their yield or their payments on the debt they have if the $100 billion plus in cash they have is sitting in treasuries? Okay, so this debt limit could impact everything. But of course they should be cut, because it's only a negotiation if one side of that negotiation is willing to default, because otherwise, what is your arguing stance, right? But here's the thing. We keep hearing Biden and McCarthy say, we're going to get there, it's going to be fine. These are two smart gentlemen. They know that no matter what is going on, they want to put that message out, because that helps the U.S. economy. And so I wouldn't believe all of that as much as they put it out. We'll see how we go throughout the day. We'll come back for the open, folks. Stay tuned.
Trading in the stock market seems impossible to most people. They think it's too volatile and risky. Most people aren't going to take the time to educate themselves on how to do it right. But you're not most people, are you? At TFNN, you'll get the guidance you need to refine your strategies and techniques to invest like a pro. Because you'll be a pro. All TFNN subscriptions, books, software, and courses are available at TFNN.com. And I'm even going to tell you how to get them for less. Use TFNN's Tiger Dollars and you'll get up to a 20% bonus on your purchase. And once you apply them to your account, Tiger Dollars are automatically used for all future or recurring charges. Tiger Dollars also never expire, are fully transferable, and are a great way to add savings to your newsletters or services. Become the investor you were born to be at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has just launched their new trading room, the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. And now they are expanding their reach with the Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. In the Tiger's Den, you can look over the shoulders of Tom O'Brien and the other TFNN hosts while they analyze charts during their live Tiger TV programs, and join an interactive trading community with hundreds of members exchanging ideas. Interact with other tigers and tigresses as they share trading ideas, news analysis, and discuss the market action all trading day, even at night and on the weekends. The Tiger's Den at Discord is accessible on mobile or tablets as well, so it's always at your reach. To sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders, just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We got markets open. You got an S&P catching a lift by about 32 points right now. And we got jumped in the video, right? Yeah, a little bit of a pullback. I was going to say, can the tech stocks go any higher? I mean, it's possible, right? But this is one of those where, man, we just got quite a sell on the open, man. You just had NVIDIA drop $10, almost 15, almost 20 from where we were. You just had the NASDAQ 100 give up a quick what? From the highs that we were at when I started the program? Quick 50 points. Listen, don't expect the NASDAQ 100 to go negative today, okay? That's a game changer. But, boy, things are dropping quick. We had the Dow flat on the open. Nope, we're off 120 points. We had the S&Ps up almost 40. Nope, we're up by 24 right now. Your Russell's negative by 5. We're dropping like a rock. Let's see where the rock lands. Microsoft shares drop about $3 on the open, still up 2.5% from Microsoft. We jump over to Google, up a solid 3% right now. Back to NVIDIA, up 23.6% right now. Staggering. Let's jump over to Amazon. Amazon shares down 0.7% right now. We'll see AMD. Oh, there you go. AMD catches a little bit of a lift actually on the open. They hold on to those gains, up by 10% for AMD. Intel shares taking it on the chin, down 4%. Yeah, as their competitors heating up, man. Intel, what happened to Intel, right? They are in trouble, to put it lightly. All right, let's see what else I got pulled up. Let's talk a little bit debt, as I mentioned. So McCarthy says issues remain in debt talks. All won't be happy. We'll talk about the most mundane, meaningless statement you can come about. Of course issues remain, and of course it all won't be happy. If no issues remained and everybody was happy, we'd have a deal done. And this is kind of what I mean about, like, not believing the rhetoric. And listen, as leaders of their party in this, of course, both members, McCarthy and Biden, should be saying, of course, we're going to get a deal, okay? Because if we don't, we're going to default on our debt. And we've already spent the money, and it's just paying our bills. So, of course, both leaders, I think when they met, right, I think one of the things that they agreed on is, hey, listen, when we come out of here, we have to be saying that things will get done, right? They don't want to storm out of there and saying, that's it, we're calling it, we're going to default. There's no way. The market will collapse, okay? So I think both of them realize that the stakes are high. They don't want to have a default. And so I think that's the message you're seeing, and that's why you're seeing these optimistic messages, and then you're seeing the negotiators walk out and say, yeah, we can't come together on tax cuts. It's like, well, what are we talking about, man? Of course they're talking about spending cuts. Of course they're talking about tax cuts, right? Those are the two most instrumental things that the parties argue over. But don't get caught up on that optimistic message, because I keep hearing it, and then you hear the details come out, and the details are tough, man. And I think rightfully so that each of these gentlemen went into that meeting, and one of the things they talked about is, listen, no matter how tough things are getting, I think we need to convey that we have reasonable members of government controlling things, and we will get over this, and we will get a deal. But don't believe it, man, because that's the message. I think it's what they want. But as my dad's been talking about on his program, there's a lot up in the air, man. And a lot is very different than what it was previously when this has happened in prior years. My dad talked about, rightfully so, one of the things that McCarthy agreed to is that Congress is going to have 3 days to read any bill before it's voted on or passed or something like that. Time is running out, man. 3 days is an eternity when we're stretching things to the last minute. And then what happens? What happens when we get 3 days? And what else did he agree on? Anybody in his caucus, can hold a revote on the speakership. So if things really start to blow up and you have somebody from the far right really unhappy, willing to burn down the government for their own political purposes, they can just say, hey, we're going to revote on the speakership. Can you imagine if they get a bill done, they give it to the members of Congress to review it for 3 days? And listen, man, I got no problem with people being able to read the bills that they're forced to vote on, okay? I get it. But that's why this is so dangerous, stretching things out to the last minute when you have these things in place. So let's say they get the deal done, they have a bill, they push it to the caucus, they got 3 days, 2 days in, somebody says, you know what? I'm going to make a stand for my own political purposes, and I am going to ask for a revote on Kevin McCarthy's speakership. Watch out if that happens in the market, folks, okay? Because, and all it takes is one. All it takes is one. No matter what party you are in, folks, I hope you can agree with me that both parties have people to the either far right or far left that have no interest in governing, no interest in compromise, and are only self-serving for their own political purposes. And that's dangerous when you give every single member the ability to say, you know what, we're going to revote on the speakership. And with the stakes so high and politics in season, yeah, you better believe that there's some volatility coming down the line, man. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Got to check back with NVIDIA. Where are we at? Yeah, quite a drop-off, man. You give up $25. Folks, you ever see something like this, man? If you were in NVIDIA last night and you weren't taking your money on the open at $395, what were you looking for? Hindsight's 20/20, but come on, man. There's a lot of people, right? That's what the selling's going on. Anybody in that equity last night, man, give me my cash at $400. It's one thing if you're an investor for the long haul. You got NVIDIA in your retirement account. Yeah, you're not going to dump that on the open. You're going to be ecstatic that years from now, they're probably going to be even higher. But if you were trading this thing for earnings, you're damn right you're selling this thing on the open, man. You just got a 30% pop on an equity that's valued at not $1 trillion anymore, man. Oh, this is going to be wild if the S&P gives it up. Let's see how some of the other ones are trading. Microsoft's still up by 2.4%. They're $1 trillion company, man. Google up by 2.6%. Pretty staggering. You only got the S&Ps up by 17 right now when you got some of the biggest companies in the world trading higher. Apple's even up by 0.3%. Amazon slightly in the red this morning as we got the NASDAQ 100 up 1.75% right now. But we just gave up a quick 100 points in the NASDAQ 100. We're only 7 minutes into the trading day. S&P's up by 17 right now. All right, what else do I got pulled up here? Let's see. Yeah, we'll go from the speakership and debt limit to DeSantis. If you didn't see the mess that happened on Twitter last night, folks, it's a real bummer because, you know, of course, DeSantis is spinning it this morning as so many people tried to sign up. It was incredible. And listen, I opened Twitter last night. I was going to check it out at 6 o'clock. The app crashed me 3 or 4 times. Couldn't log in. Seems like they had about 600,000 or 700,000 people trying to tune in at the beginning. I could never get into it. I was never able to get into the Twitter spaces that was going on. I tried 3 or 4 times. I was trying until about 6:30, 6:45, just pulling it up on my phone, trying to get in there. An absolute mess. And it speaks to, folks, now if Twitter was a public company, it would be tanking this morning, okay? It's an absolute failure for that company. You're seeing the effect of what Elon's done on that company. And for a presidential candidate to take that opportunity to announce their campaign and just trust Elon because he trusts that space, not a smart move, to put it lightly, man. All right, politics aside, that's a blunder. That's a mistake. DeSantis only got one opportunity. He trusted Elon Musk with that opportunity. Elon's out there today saying it's the story of the earth. Everybody's talking about it. Folks, everybody talks about bad things too. Just because it's the story of the day doesn't mean it's a good thing. And in the year 2023, Twitter cannot handle a live stream of 500, 600,000 streamers, which is atrocious, to put it lightly. So, politics marches on. Stay tuned, folks. We're coming back. S&P's only up by 15, 14.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
The Gold Report. As a precious metal, gold is still king. It continues to hold the most effective safe haven and hedging properties across the global major trading hubs of the London OTC market, the U.S. futures market, and the Shanghai Gold Exchange. The Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his weekly gold report every Monday morning for subscribers, consisting of coverage of the XAU, HUI, GDX, the dollar, bonds, the South African rand, as well as 25 different mining equities with specific buy-sell recommendations. The Gold Report. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee so you have nothing to risk. Subscribe to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report newsletter now at TFNN.com.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Welcome back, folks. We get the Dow off 140 right now. We get the S&Ps holding on to gains up by about 17. Russell off by 8. I got a heat map up here on the Thinkorswim platform. NVIDIA glowing green, but still only up about 20%, man. You just gave up 10%, okay, of a $1 trillion company. Think about that, right? I mean, that's quite a weekly chart, man. That is quite a weekly chart when you put that thing up there. Look at that thing, blow it apart. But as I stated, you were at $400. You're at 376 right now. You jump over to the Analyze tab. You get to the fundamentals. $931 billion. So what do we give up? We give up $50 billion, $60 billion on the open on NVIDIA shares trading at 377. We were just under 370 though. Yeah, remarkable to say the least. And we jump back to that heat map. What I was going to talk about. This is the S&P 500, folks. Everything is red besides a few select tech stocks, right? I'm ballparking here, okay? You got Tesla up by 1.3%. What? Thermo Fisher Scientific is in the positive. You got to cherry pick stuff going on over here, okay? MetLife's in the positive. Charles Schwab is in the positive. They got some fundamental news going on. NVIDIA's up 20%. Broadcom's up 1%. Google's up 2.5%. Microsoft's up 2.4%. Apple's positive by 0.5%. Everything else is in the red. Okay, I'm ballparking. D.H. Horton, the builders, they're in the positive. UPS, I see a little bit of green, up by 0.7. But be careful, folks. Dow's off 133. NASDAQ just gave up what? 0.5% from where we were at the open. It's going to be a wild day in the markets. You get the VIX still sitting at almost 20, right? Think about that. VIX still sitting at almost 20, 1935. It's quite a market we got going on here. All right, what else are we going to jump to? How about Carl Icahn? He's got his own deal going on. And boy, you talk about a deal. Today, it's hammering again, down 15%. Don't touch this equity, man, no matter what you think about Icahn. It's just trading at $50 at the beginning of May. You're trading at $20 right now. I'm sorry. No chart. Shame on me. Thanks, Al. Apologies. All right, we'll get the chart up there. Boy, I was jumping through everything. Let's go back to that heat map. Shame on me. There's your heat map, okay? S&P 500, yeah. Everything is in the red there, folks, okay? NVIDIA is glowing bright green. Microsoft, Apple, Google, Meta. You got Adobe trading positive by almost 5%. Arista Networks trading up by 8.8% there. But basically everything else, man, in the red pretty dramatically as we get the Dow at negative 66. S&P's catching a little bit again, up by 24. But as our man Basil Chapman says, the day is young. And it's only 15 minutes into the trading day, and it's absolutely wild that you got so much going on in terms of the debt limit going on, coming into the long weekend, and we come back and it's June, man. So I don't know how that's going to get done. My dad was making the great point. It's Memorial Day weekend, man. Okay? Congress, they go home. They have parades. Congress members, they like to participate in Memorial Day activities. It kicks off summer. I mean, in the Northeast, man, it is like school is out, time for summer. And so it's a joyous occasion, right? So politicians like to be around when there's joyous occasions, people kicking off summer. So they're going to be going home. I imagine the negotiators are going to be here. And all that's carrying this market right now is a few select tech stocks, man. You go into the NASDAQ 100. I mean, that shows you what matters, folks, okay? Look how big Google, Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, AMD, Adobe, Synopsys, ASML Holdings. You got Micron in there up 4%, right? Marvel Technologies up 4%. Basically, it's all the big stocks that you're used to in the NASDAQ 100. You jump to the Russell 2000, a lot of red on that board, folks. The only category that's green, information technology. Healthcare, tanking. Financials in the red. Energy, definitely in the red right now. We got crude off $2. Consumer staples, everything in the red, right? So be careful. Unless you're really centered on those tech stocks. And folks, NASDAQ 100's up like almost 30% this year, okay? There's a lot of optimism built in. The run that Microsoft has had already, right? That's the weekly. Let's just put it on a daily. I mean, already Microsoft is up $100 from January coming into today. There's a lot of optimism already built in. Now, NVIDIA's in a class of its own, man. Okay, 11 billion versus 7. Yeah, that was not built into this equity. Okay, even with the run it's had, not built into this equity. But some of the others, be careful, because there's already a tremendous amount of optimism built in. Microsoft's the best example I can think of, man, in terms of their investment in ChatGPT. Bing, that is now using ChatGPT. Yeah, so it's gonna happen for sure. In terms of, yeah, we'll leave it at that. So IEP, just jumping back real quick, man. Icon, you had a huge gap. Yes, I mean, it was a gap the whole day. You gap again today, though. And, I mean, they're starting to pile on, man. You're on Wall Street forever. You start building enemies, and, yeah, they all come out of the woodworks when you're wounded, okay? So yesterday you had Ackman. Now, they have been at it. What was it? Herbalife, right? Ackman was short Herbalife. He called it a Ponzi scheme. Icon was bullish. Icon won, man. What did Ackman lose on that? $1 billion, couple $1 billion, something staggering. So, yeah, you better believe he's coming out now, because you got 87-year-old Carl Icahn taking it on the chins. And what did he say? He talked about that it could be akin to Archegos. Now, folks, Bill Huang's probably going to end up in jail, so just for some context in what he's talking about here. And so take that for what it's worth. This is his enemy. Icon beat him to the tune of $1 billion or $2. We'll have to pull up. Maybe if somebody in the den knows, how much did Ackman lose on that Herbalife short? It was a tremendous amount of money, man. And there was a lot of credence to what he was saying there. I don't know if you followed it, but a majority of the money that Herbalife makes is off the people selling it, right? They go and they find somebody that wants to sell Herbalife. You have to pay them to become a seller for whatever the terminology is. They don't really make money selling the Herbalife vitamins. They make money signing you up to sell Herbalife vitamins, and the whole business is built on finding the next person, not selling more product. So in that deal, I kind of get what he's talking about. But if you don't think he knew what he was doing when he came out and referred it to Archegos, yeah, you better believe he did, man. Swap counterparties were comforted by each having relatively smaller exposure to the situation. This is his comparison to Archegos. All it takes is for one lender to break ranks and liquidate shares or attempt to hedge before the house comes falling down. Here, the Patsy is the last lender to liquidate. Now, do you remember who the last lender to liquidate was for Archegos? Do you remember, folks? I'll give you a hint. They're no longer in business, and they were based in Switzerland. Yeah, Credit Suisse. Do you remember that? When that was coming out, you had some of the other big banks out. They knew, man. They were traders. They got in there. They sold immediately, even though the whole conglomerate was saying, hey, nobody can sell because once we start selling, everybody's running for the door. Well, the smart traders out there said, well, I'll just sell first. And that's it. And Credit Suisse was left holding the bag. That's what's going on here, man. Be careful. And you might be seeing it today with some selling as Carl Icahn taking it on the chin, down 15.8% as the market gives it up. Boy, can you imagine if we go negative on the day that NVIDIA posts that type of a number and the NASDAQ was 100? We got one more segment, folks. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
TFNN has just launched their new trading room, the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. And now they are expanding their reach with the Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. In the Tiger's Den, you can look over the shoulders of Tom O'Brien and the other TFNN hosts while they analyze charts during their live Tiger TV programs, and join an interactive trading community with hundreds of members exchanging ideas. Interact with other tigers and tigresses as they share trading ideas, news analysis, and discuss the market action all trading day, even at night and on the weekends. The Tiger's Den at Discord is accessible on mobile or tablets as well, so it's always at your reach. To sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders, just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We got the S&Ps up by 15 points right now. It's weak, man. This market's struggling a bit. You see that drop off on the open. We're pushing the lows of the session right now. The Dow off 110. The S&P's holding on to gains barely. We jump over to the dollar index, man. Dollar catching some strength up to 104.21. We got the 10-year right now, negative by 16 ticks. That's talking about a yield. We're approaching 3.8%, man. Right? Keep that in mind, man. We have a stronger dollar. We have higher yields. We are less than 3 weeks away from a Fed decision, okay? 3 weeks from yesterday, to be exact. We're coming into a long weekend, and we got a debt crisis looming. And don't be surprised, man, if you see a headline hit the tape today, folks, Thursday before the long weekend, that somehow negotiations stall again, and maybe they really ratchet it up and saying we're going home for the long weekend and we'll come back and talk again when we have cooler minds prevailing on Tuesday, May 30th. Don't be surprised, because guess what? There's nothing like a deadline to get things done, and we're bumping up against it, okay? But I don't think we're close enough, because it's going to seem like, I mean, what's the deal that's going to come out of this? Who's going to lose? Who's going to win, right? I mean, these are politicians negotiating, folks. There's going to be winners and losers, and everybody's going to go out touting who won and who lost. And listen, the debt is out of control, period. End of sentence. And it's great they're negotiating, and hopefully they get a deal done that, cuts some spending, decreases the deficit over what years or whatnot. But, folks, this is the stuff that's going to start happening, and that's why I imagine a deal will get done, okay? But don't be surprised if things stretch longer than you think they could, because what do we got? We got Social Security payments due next Friday, $25 billion. The people who need it most. Politicians aren't going to let that happen. I hope not. We'll see. But Kevin McCarthy, he's dealing with a speakership that's very fragile right now. And so when you're prone to any individual member revoting, stakes are high. Can't be much higher than that. All right, we close it out with NVIDIA. Let's close it out. NVIDIA shares holding on to gains, man, up by 24%. It's going to be a wild one, folks. Stay tuned. We got our man Basil Chapman coming up live next with the Tiger Technicians Hour, live programming all day. Have a great Thursday, folks. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks so much.